All right, guys, back out here again on the OBS, phase 3. So a little recap. We made sure the fuel pump works. We made sure we have fuel pressure. I was able to jump the relay and make the fuel pump turn on, and we pumped 15 gallons of fuel with no hiccups. So the pump is good. I've replaced the cap, the rotor, the plugs, the wires, all of the electrical side. I've also replaced the ignition coil. So we've got spark, and I know we have spark. So we're going to dig into it again with some feedback I got from some guys on some different forums that I've posted on and have watched the videos. And hopefully we can get this thing fixed, because I really need this truck running so I can do other things, more fun things. It's getting old. We need to fix it. All right, let's go. All right, guys, the saga continues. Posted up the videos for the previous 2 attempts to fix the truck. A couple of people on some forums and such watched them and give me some feedback. The general consensus right now is it seems that there's a significant amount of fuel being dumped into the throttle body during startup. It seems that one of the causes for that could be the coolant temperature sensor being bad. So it works off of resistance based on the temperature. And the lower the higher the resistance, the more fuel the injectors send to the throttle body, right? So if it's really cold outside, you need more fuel to start the vehicle. So if this sensor is bad and it's throwing all the ohms, all the resistance, then the truck's going to dump all the fuel. Which makes sense, kind of, because the only way to get it to start is to hold it full throttle, which for these vehicles is the way you would clear a flooded carb, or a flooded throttle body. So when you floor it like that, it opens the butterflies all the way up and it cuts fuel to the injectors to clear the extra fuel so that it would start. So it makes sense on paper. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull the plug on this coolant sensor. I'll show you where it is in just a minute. And then we're going to test the ohm resistance, and then we have a table to look at, and you have to compare that to the ambient temperature. Because the truck is cold, it's going to be just ambient coolant temp, and you compare it to that table and see if the resistance aligns with the temperature. So that's the plan. That's what we're going to do next. Here we go. So we're right here on top of the engine. I already have my air filter off, from previous things, but you'd have to take that off to do this. So this plug here, that's your temp sensor. It's right here by the thermostat, right there. So we're just going to unhook this wire, hopefully without breaking the plug. There we go. You got 2 pins down in there. You can see those. You get out of the way. 2 pins down in there. So we're going to get our ohm tester, and we're going to jump those 2 pins with it set to ohm and see what we get. And then I'll put a picture of the table up whenever we get that number, and we'll look at it and see. I've also got a thermometer out here so we can look at ambient temp, and we'll compare them. So God, I hope this works. Let's do it. All right, so I got the meter set up here. I'm hoping you can see that number pretty good. I'm gonna jump these pins, so it doesn't matter which way. You just, one lead to one lead to the other. You gotta make sure you get a good connection, because resistance could be affected by your connection. So a 630 range, 640, still climbing, 650, 670, it's still climbing slowly, but it's in about the 700 range. If it was bad, it would be significantly higher, like 4 digits higher. So it looks like the gauge is good, or the sensor is good. I'm going to put the picture up of the table here. And you can see that it's 64 degrees here in the shop, so it should be right in the high 600s to low 700s at 64 degrees. So it's not that sensor, so I got to go back to the drawing board. Try again. I just noticed something, guys. I was reading the book here, trying to figure out where that temperature sensor pinout is on that plug, and I was looking at that that table that I showed just a minute ago. This is it here. I was looking at 60 on the Celsius side at 667 ohms, and that's what we were seeing, but that would be 140 degrees, so 60 degrees should be in the 35 to 4500 range, and we're not getting that much, but it seems to be backwards. Typically, the colder the temperature, the more ohms, the more fuel, but mine's showing like 600, 700 ohms at 60 degrees. So it's showing a lot warmer temperature, it looks like. I hope I understand that correctly. So I'm going to retest that and make sure. But it seems like that sensor might be the problem. Alright guys, I was very confused with what I was seeing there. It didn't make any sense at all. So I phoned a friend. My brother has been a mechanic for years. Mostly works on newer stuff, but still he has a wealth of knowledge. And we decided to switch to this other gauge that I had laying around. It's a much newer gauge, and you don't have to choose an option for your ohm load like this one does. It just reads. So I've got it set to ohm. Let's see if I can turn a light on so you guys can see it. So I'm going to try it across the pins again. Hard to see back here. It's settling in. $6,000. Why didn't it stay on? So now it's saying 6,000K. It was saying 600M earlier, which I guess is about right because you just move the decimal, right? So if that's the case, I mean, it's off the charts. 600 mega ohms is off the charts. So I went and grabbed a new sensor here, brand new. So we're going to check the pins on it. Same ambient temperature in the garage, close enough. This one reads 0.3. No, yeah. 3.1K. So that's a significant difference. Half. So I think it's that sensor. So I'm going to throw it in real quick. Cross our fingers. If you have a deity you pray to, it'd be appreciated. Let's go. Alright, got it changed out. That was a pain. This bar is in the way to put any type of a socket on there. So I had to use a long 19mm wrench and just turn, flip, turn, flip, turn. Very tedious, but it's out. It's changed. You got to move fast too, because coolant starts coming out when you pull this thing. So you got to get the other one in there quick. I'm going to go ahead and plug this back in. Like so. I hope it's tight enough. I did spill a little bit of coolant, so it's going to be kind of hard to tell if it's leaking, but I didn't want to over tighten it and strip it. So now I got to get that plug back in, and then we can try it out. We can fire it up. Let me put that thing back in real quick, and we'll God, I hope this fixes it. All right, guys, I got that plug back in. Moment of truth. Everybody cross their fingers. Should start right up with no pedal or anything. Woo! That started right up. Like right up. Battery was a little weak. I don't know why. The charger's been on it. That's the best it started this whole time. But it's done that. It's done that a couple times. Like it's an intermittent issue. So I'm gonna let it idle. It takes about 5 minutes. I'm not gonna sit here with the camera the whole time. Let it run, see what happens. I'll check back with you. It's been almost 10 minutes now. It was about 8:20 and it's about 8:28 now. Still running, still idling. It's idled down once it warmed up a little bit, which is normal. I tentatively think that fixed it. So I'm just going to let it keep idling. I'm going to go ahead and put the air filter and everything back together the way it's supposed to be. Check for leaks, make sure nothing's wonky. And just let it idle, let it run. And if it makes it another 10 minutes, I may take it around the block and see. But I want to get excited, but it's been a long trip. So we'll see. I'll check back. All right, it's been another little over 5 minutes. One of the things that I was concerned with that is I have a coolant gauge and it's been reading what I would assume to be correct. It was moving up when the truck warmed up and everything. And it's doing so now. It's moved up to where it's supposed to be. I was concerned with that gauge reading correctly if that sensor was going to be bad, but I guess there's more than one. I don't really know. I'm not that versed with these much trucks, but I'm going to take it around the block. I want to see what happens. Cross your fingers. I don't have to push it back, but I got friends in the neighborhood if I need it, so let's do it. Let's go. Well, guys, I think it's fixed. It's finally fixed. I made it back home. So I went down the street and picked up one of my buddies, one of the guys that was helping me the other day in one of the other videos, just in case I needed somebody to push. Drove around for about 25-30 minutes, just here in the neighborhood, just idling around. And then we hit the main road so I could run it up to 35-40 miles an hour. Didn't miss a lick. Shifted fine, ran fine, never missed. I do need to check the oil. I want to make sure that all that fuel didn't wash through and dilute my oil. I may have to do an oil change, so I'm going to let it sit here and cool down and let the oil drain back down into the pan and then check the oil level. As long as the oil level is not high, then I think we can put this one to bed. I'm so excited. I appreciate all you guys that watched, that suggested, the guys on the GTM forum that mentioned the coolant temperature sensor. I owe you guys at least a case of beer. I mean, I am so happy that we were able to come together and put our heads together and fix this without, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm having to depend on you guys and your experience, and it worked. And I'm so excited. I really appreciate you guys. So I'm going to finish this one off. It's going to be a short video because we actually fixed it. Thank you again. Thank you. Please subscribe to the channel. I got plenty of stuff going on. We're going to start working on that CJ soon. I've got tons of stuff going on with it. I've got bumpers. We're going to replace the fuel tank. We got to fix the fuel sender. We got power brakes going in. We got to fix steering. We got lift and shocks, and we're going to get the wheels off and powder coated. It's going to be a big project, but at least that one, I don't need it, right? It can sit as long as it wants. I'm trying to get it fixed in about 5 months, at least safely drivable and presentable by May, and it's January, late January now. So that's going to be next up, and that's what I needed this truck for, because I need to get the wheels off so I can get them to the tire shop, get the tires dismounted and all the weights cleaned off so I can get them out and get them powder coated. And I can't do that in the back of my Jeep or in the Vet. I mean, it's not going to fit. So I need a truck, and now I have a truck again. So thank you guys again. I really appreciate it. You guys have a good one. Rock on.